Okay, hey everybody, this is Grace, and this is Rough Draft recording and this one is about Laurie again. And I've been making a series from this. It's hypothetical fictional situations. They're all pretty much mysteries, or part of. Some of them are just different kinds of stories. All of it, even the Rough Draft recordings and all, copyrighted to me and nobody else. And these are my stories, my series, my mysteries, and so on. Anyway, I want to talk about Laurie and more about her. I already have one video I've made of her. And basically, Laurie's in early 2020. Laurie is around, her birthday, 59 to 60 years old. And she has an uncle that's young, and yes, his name is Sam. I don't want to say it together, but who knows what the AI would think. But he was young when she was born. And now he's 72. Like I said, Laurie's 59, 60, and Sam is 72. And he is also one of the elders of the county. Now, in this county, Victorson County, Texas. Victorson County is fictional. Texas is not, of course. And in the county, they're kind of secluded from other places. They're very secluded from other places in the whole county. And they have one close that borders it, and it's South County, which is fictional, and it's very small. Well, the elders were all split up because of some threats, and part of that the mysteries, and they were sent on these ranches. That the ranches are inside the county, but they kind of like circle the county. There's still more land beyond that for the whole county, beyond it. But anyway, one of them is one of her uncle. Is one of her uncles, and him, Sam, and she was living elsewhere but she still, because because of him and because she grew up there. She has this special kind of phone. It's that the people in the county use. Very wealthy county, except for one town, and the town is actually called the Outlaws. And it's very wealthy, and they have these special phones for use, that they use for between members, just between certain people. And so she got a call from her uncle, his uncle, and he basically clued her in of what was going on, that they were basically shutting putting the whole county on lockdown, and they would have rolling lockdowns, remember, early 2020, and that they were going to try, their best to keep other people out and keep other things out. So anyway, so he suggested she come back to the county, and he also told her about some of the threats that they've received, and some just some information that was very disturbing, and so he made a suggestion of that. Okay, now Laurie's, not only is Laurie a descendant, but she's also, the original settlers, and that's, their descendants, they're the only people who can own property except for in the Outlaws. But the rest of the county, they're the only ones that can. Those and the ones that are original group members are basically computer people that helped in the whole process of it becoming so wealthy. Now, she's a member of both. And there's another woman, Paige, who is also, and there are several people who are, but one of them, Paige, she wanted Laurie back really bad into the county. Now, she didn't know that Laurie's uncle had, that direct line. That they're on a need-to-know basis. They all sign contracts. They all know that. And so when she, asked him, she called him and said, I really want her to come back for a special project. And she didn't know that, Sam had, access to her. And so she phoned him, and he said, yeah. And she said that, she had Sam call Laurie, which Sam had already done, about the lockdown, which he had already done. And he told Laurie, what Paige had said, and for her to call Paige. And Paige, Laurie, was basically too curious to resist, calling Paige to find out. Now, some of them, the original group members, they also have their own descendants. They not all of them knew one another. It was hundreds of them, and they, like I said, they're all on a need-to-know basis, and they're fine with that. Nobody runs the show. Nobody is the owner or anything. They're very wealthy. They have businesses, many of them there, but also in other states and countries, and they're really wealthy. And so Laurie called Paige to find out, and Paige told her that the members wanted Laurie, not just Paige, but the members wanted Laurie back. They want basically anybody they can find back, but they had a special project for her, and it was really the first big project that she'd ever been on for them. And she'd have to have some training first, age-appropriate training with the enforcement, Jim's enforcement. They basically train people like police officers, investigators, bodyguards, security, people who are going to be deputies and such. Police, like I said, police officers and all. And with everything that was going on, and she was in the big city, she lived by herself. She said, "Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, she's the wanderer type. She likes just to go wherever." So she decided, yeah, I better go back. So she did. Okay, now the elders, they call them the VW elders, that part, they had already spoken to this woman named Leah, who was 57 at the time it began. And Leah wanted us to open up a delivery service like other people because there was a stronger need now. And so she was opening up. She had to ask the elders, and the elders told her, they agreed and to it, and they were going to help her out, and as long as she kind of helped out. Well, as it turned out, they also informed the original group members, and they just call them members. And they wanted Laurie, they wanted Laurie to have something to do, and part of this, so Paige worked it to where they all, did over the internet, made up a deal. They were going to have Laurie come there and help Leah with Leah's delivery business. There's a bigger mystery. There's a mystery behind it, but right now, to get some of this background information is so annoying to do. These are just helping me to get it all developed, and things may change just because it doesn't work or something. Anyway, now Laurie, as it turns out, what they're going to do is they're going to have Laurie live in Leah's garage apartment. Now it's typical for Victorson County for them to have a garage apartment, and they're big. They're not just teeny tiny, and they can have more than one person living in them. They're that big. And usually it's like it has everything that an apartment has, but 2 bedrooms and usually an office. So they'll have Laurie move into one of those. But they're also going to have, they're going to say Laurie is Leah's family, and that there will also be another family member, which would be Laurie's niece, but it's truly not Laurie's niece. They call them 2.0s, the original group members' children, and no matter where they live. Well, this one, she didn't live within the county, and they called themselves the 2.0s. And enforcement group member. She was one of the enforcement, and she would be basically bodyguard security for them, but she would live in the garage apartment with Laurie. They have, like I said, 2 bedrooms. They had their own bedroom in the office and stuff like that. And Laurie would work with Leah on the delivery service. Well, the delivery service wound up changing as it is. The VW elders got more into what they were doing. They decided this would be their focus. They started changing up quite a bit on it. And that's for another video, actually. Okay. So anyway, Laurie had been living in the big city, which is about 2 hours from the closest part point north of Victorson County. And like I said, but she grew up in Victorson County, so all she basically had to do was to pack up and go. And she had decided just to live. She had a just an apartment, some small place, and she just decided to close it down and stop paying rent and all that, and go back to her home. And like I said, she's going to wind up there. Now, as a descendant and all that, she would have her own property there. Usually the people in that town, in that county, Victorson County, they don't have a lot of children. Usually, not always. Some of them do. But usually they usually have 1 or 2 children. It's all up to them, what they want to do. And so they usually wound up having, it's old money. It comes from very old money. Most of it, much of it, except for the ones with 2.0s. And Laurie, since she's one of both, she has some money, but she just likes to go, like I said, she's a wanderer type. But she's getting older, and she sees the risk, and she needs to come home back to her Victorson County. And but her own home, she would have. Basically, she has it rented out, and while she's been gone, and just said to continue doing that. She was going to continue that, but she would be staying, like I said, at Leah's for a while. There's some twist, and it's part of the mystery. Anyway, if you want to subscribe, like I said, getting the background information out, I don't like that. But if you want to subscribe to this channel to hear more, to stay tuned, just click that circular icon button that pops up. And I'll talk to you in another video. Bye.